Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode. This time we are going to discuss the four Purusharthas with Guruji. And we tried to do this yesterday, but the universe just wanted us to do it today. So we are going to give it our best shot today and hope for it to work. I'm pinning the comment and waiting for Guruji to join, pin comment. Yeah, thank you everybody. You guys joined when I was doing the test. You guys are joining now. Thank you so much. I wonder how the day is going for all of you. I'm excited to talk about this with Guruji, of course, right? It's a question that all of us comes in all of our minds. I'm gonna see. Hi everybody. Hi Amit. Hi Shrina. Hi Anusha. I'm waiting for Guruji to give me. How's my day, Lanjita? I am on vacation with my friends, so it's been 4 nights, sleeping really late, waking up really early. No problem, Krishnaji, take your time, waking up really early. You know, generally when I travel, I'll tell you this is how I balance, right? When you're out, you eat all kinds of things. And the way I usually balance is I eat a very light dinner. I'll try. So and it's easier when we are not in a huge group, but basically eat the breakfast, enjoy, indulge, eat the lunch, enjoy, indulge. But then from the dinner, in the dinner, I don't. You know, Guruji is going to explain the Dharmarth Kam Moksha, right? I have a post on them, but when he's here, I just even feel embarrassed to talk because he knows so much more. And he's so enlightened. So let's wait for him. And I know he's come. And he's probably going to be sending me a request to join in right now. So once he joins, we'll do this. Namaste Guruji. We're just waiting for you to send a request to join. And then we're going to, yeah. Okay, perfect. And if it goes slightly in and out, we'll just work with it today. Namaste, Guruji. Pranam.
Namaste. How are you?
Good. Seems like the connection is going to work today.
I also hoping the very best. Yes.
Yes, and I can see you clearly and we can hear you clearly, and I'm hoping my voice is the same. So I'm very happy for that, Guruji.
Yeah.
So
sound
Guruji,
is slightly, sound is a little bit disturbing, but I think everything is fine. It will be okay.
Yeah, I think so, Guruji. I think so, yeah. Sometimes that little variations happen, but it's good for the meantime. So the reason why, Vajayanti, I don't want to minimize comments is because it will not then save my pin. That's why. So let's all minimize commenting. Let's minimize commenting. If we have comments, let's bring them up later in the ending, but let's not comment. Okay, perfect. Everything is perfect, Guruji. So, yes. Again, I'll quickly introduce what Guruji, who's from Indimasi village, really, your words were like Shrud Gyan, like really words of the universe and the God. So what we heard last time, I know it moved a lot of people, it touched a lot of people, kept us all thinking. And then when you hear something so profound, Guruji, the question that always comes to the mind is how much to indulge in the sansar? What is the right measurement of that? And when the mind and the soul is pulled in both directions, that you want to enjoy the world, and there's also the spiritual seeking of knowing what lies beneath these sanskars that we are carrying, then this question comes, the questions of the 4 Purushartha comes. So Guruji, I will let you start however you want, because you know exactly what we need to hear.
Okay. Namaskar to everybody. Yes. Today's subject is Purusha Artha. Just now you said how far we can indulge in our life. And you said mind, soul, purushartham, everything. The problem is, again, from a yogic point of view, the moment we try to understand the value and the meaning of life through the intellect, we will be really trapped into a trouble. So, if we want to understand the real meaning, open the third eye, go beyond the intellect. That is why yoga philosophy is taught to us through mainly 4 Vedas. Irk, Yajur, Samam, Atharva. These are the 4 Vedas. Rigveda says, Prajnanam Brahma. That is the conclusion. Jnanam means intellectual knowledge. You are trapped into multitudes of thoughts. So Master is declaring that go beyond jnana. Pra means go beyond. So prajnanam. If you can go beyond your intellectual knowledge, you are liberated. Yajurveda says, Aham Brahmasmi. Means the self is the reality, not the mind. Consciousness is the reality. Then Samaveda says, Tattvamasi. You too are that, because all your questions will be answered from within. Atharva Veda says, I am Atma Brahma. My soul is Brahma. Brahma means the dynamic universe, which is beyond our intellect. So 4 Vedas are declaring that whatever may be your living situation, go beyond the intellect. Yoga. Yoga will take you. Pranam mano dvayamidam vilayam neyedyo moksham sagachati. The moment your mind merges into prana, you are a yogi and you are liberated. Moksha means liberation. In Purushartham, 4 levels are there. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Moksha is the ultimate goal of yoga. It is not, dissolving in nature. It is the perfect understanding of the purpose of life. That is moksha. So, as a yogi, I will just explain a practical way. If you want to go through the philosophical Vedic language, this 45 minutes not enough. So I will give you a practical lesson how we have to survive or enjoy in our very life. Dharma. Word dharma means cosmic law. Dharayade idi dharma. So from where we are born, as far as Vedas are concerned, we are a degenerate. So we are the degeneration of a cosmic reality. Technically, if I say God, Brahma is God. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara. All these gods, basic gods, are derived from, or they are the manifestation of a higher dimension, a reality, cosmic reality, which is called Dharma. So everything is based on that molecular arrangement. Now, we all are talking because our minds are active. Minds are functioning only because of the activation of breath. If we are not breathing more than 2.5 minutes, brain will stop functioning. 3 minutes, heart will stop. That means prana vayu, life energy, is air. So nature has a calculation. How many gallons of air Nidhi will consume within 1 day or 1 hour, and how many gallons of carbon dioxide will be liberated from this person. There is a molecular arrangement. So that carbon dioxide will immediately be absorbed by plants and other things in nature, and they will use it and they will liberate oxygen back to you. And you will take that. Again, it is a comfortable giving and taking. Each and every molecule is calculated in nature. That molecular design is called destiny. Usually we say. understanding that molecular arrangement is called dharma. So how you can understand that? You have to go beyond your intellect through the sadhana. Did you get this dharma? Yes.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to quickly summarize what you said. So you said, to understand Purushartha, yeah, we all keep intellectualizing, we keep analyzing and trying to understand what is moksha, what is, my purpose. And we have more discussion and trying to speak to people and read books and all of that. But what you're saying, it's really something to be experienced. It's something that you understand from within you through that sadhana inside. And that is what is yoga. And all of the Vedas say, in some manner or the other, that lies within you. The answers lie within you. And we spoke of dharma. And dharma is, what I'm understanding is, how am I as Nidhi, as me, connected to the universe? The universe has a role and a formula for how much oxygen I'm going to consume, how many breaths I'm going to take, and how much I'm going to give out. And in its own way, this is how the universe is balancing everything by how much carbon dioxide I emit out, how much oxygen I take. It's like rationed it for me. It's a ration that the universe issues. And you said that is dharma. But I'd like to, of course, understand, in life, how do I translate that? But I'm sure you'll get into it.
Yes. Now, you grasped the idea, but again, it's just only an example which I said.
Right.
Not only breath, even the heat, the sweat, 5 elements: earth energy, water energy, heat energy, air energy, and sound energy we are using knowingly and unknowingly. And our intellect will understand maybe 1% of the real function. 99% cannot be grasped through our senses. Our senses are too limited to understand the reality of nature. But the moment we go beyond the intellect, we will become more instinctive. Instinct will give you like 50% more understanding of the law of nature. Then you will come to know, you will become a nishkama karmi. Nishkama means like you will do the action, but you will not identify yourself with that action. So the work without the feeling of me and mine. You will come to know these are happening by nature. Suppose I joined in a business and I lost a good amount of money. Usually as an ordinary person, I will be little depressed. But if I am instinctively established, I will be perfectly aware that these things are happening through me as a tool. Then I will handle it in a better way without being trapped into that situation. Now what I'm saying is, instinct will give you a perfect understanding about the law of nature, and that will provide you a certain comfort in dealing with the life. Whether we are instinctive or not, nothing will change in nature because everything is pre-designed. When we understand this, when we get the instinctive impulse, we will be in tune with the dharma. If you know dharma, then you have perfect right to get artha. Artha means it has two meanings, money and meaning. Definition is there. That is what is called in Sanskrit artha. And other side is prosperity, achieving or getting more prosperity, money, name, fame, and everything. So if you know the meaning of the law of nature, you have the right to possess a lot of things like money, everything you can have, because you will not be carried away with the external things. You will have the perfect balance. If you have that ability, you can do whatever you want. It will give you a comfortable freedom. Maybe you will do something. The whole world may say that, no, you are wrong. But if you have the instinctive impulse and the confirmation that, no, Nidhi, you are doing the right thing. Our inner consciousness is saying this, you are approved and you are allowed. Then you will not be carried away with the external impulsion. That's all. So there we will become a real kami. Kami means you can fulfill the desires. Whatever desire comes, you have the right to execute it or try to do your level best to make it happen. That is what is called artha. You must have a meaning for your life, why you are born or why I am born. This answer will be slowly derived from within if we have this attitude and understanding. Yes.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense, right, Guruji? Because you know what happens? Sometimes people define dharma as rigid duties. And sometimes, like you said, right, when instinctively you feel unnatural there. So that is such a, I found, Guruji, in my own journey, when I started listening more to what feels like swimming with the flow, rather than going against the tide. And when you're going against the tide, everything that if I do that way, it doesn't feel like it's with nature. It feels like it's against nature. So what you're saying, if I'm not mistaken, is that for dharma, the more we know ourselves and tune in and listen to our instincts, we naturally know our role in our environment, in the world. It's just natural. Like I feel like that about Ayurveda. I feel like this is my dharma. Like it's just so close. It's natural from me. It's natural to me. And then when that happens, when you're working, when you're working with the nature, honoring your instinct, then naturally earth is just it becomes a byproduct. Prosperity becomes a byproduct because it comes to you very naturally when you're living in accordance with nature, which is following what your dharma is. And what you said, which was very important, is that even if everybody else around you, it feels unnatural to them. And they feel this is not natural, what you're doing is wrong. But if you are feeling so instinctive about it, then that is your path and you must explore it and see what happens. But what you're also saying is that when you're doing this path, Guruji, what you're saying is you are just a medium. You're just a medium and you're not the source of this happening. The universe is just acting through you. But when you're in that state, then you said calm, that you can then naturally have sensory indulgence, whatever feels right.
Yes. But again, you must understand the subject which we are discussing is beyond the intellect.
Yeah.
The cosmic reality is beyond our intellect. Now we are trying to match with the cosmic law. Again, what is the cosmic law? That is Brahma. Brahma consciousness cannot be, explained through the limited intellect. When we go beyond the intellect only, we will become one with Brahma. In that way, Anoraniyan Mahado Mahiyan. It is clearly written in the Veda. Anu means the micro. Now we are talking about the micro and we have a feeling about the macro. So still we see two things. We are sticking into dualism, Dvaita. So long as two things are there, we are away from the reality, from the Dharma Bodha. So when we make the union between mind and body only, we will come to know exactly who we are. With that understanding, with that knowledge, we can have a comfortable life. Like in India, especially yogis, they speak about Brahma. But Brahma Jnani means a person who realized the reality. They created gods and gave to people for worshipping. It is very shocking for an ordinary person. That is why you have to be a bit careful when we get into Purushartha. This is the essence of life. There is no compromise. Only science and intellect will work. No belief, no ritual, no philosophy. Only the person who is observing and the thing which is being observed. That is what is called Dvaita. The disciple and the guru, or the worshipper and the worshipped, we can reach to that two things, then our real activity is to merge. The merge is the yoga, the union between the worshipper and the worshipped. Then both will vanish. Even when you go into the real ritualistic practice of like a temple, gods are there, you have to do the ritual. But at the end of the day, what will happen? You will lose the God whom you were worshipping, and you will also lose your identity. Then only your reality will come up. This is what he said. Pranam mano doyamidam vilayam nayedyo moksham sagechadi. That time your God also will vanish. You also will vanish. Then what will remain? It is beyond explanation. So when we reach to that Brahma Bodha, all these questions will vanish. I am insisting you to understand this point. Actually, we are not finding answer for our questions. Yoga will not give you any answer for your questions, but yoga will remove your questions. Have you heard about a story of doll made of salt?
No, Guruji.
Okay. Just listen. This is a small story. In India,
yeah, we'd love to. Yeah.
Yes. All these philosophical things, yogic ideas are, distributed or taught through attractive stories. There were a community made of, dolls made of this salt. A community with the salt, made of with the salt. So one guy was so successful in the life, and he was a merchant. He did lot of trades and everything. So he made enough money. And after the age of 50, he decided to try, give his business to his, transfer his business to his son, and he wanted to go for pilgrimage because he heard that he was originated from the ocean. So salt is taken from the ocean. So he wanted to understand the reality from where he came out. So he left his business and over his saffron and everything, he took his bag. He started walking towards the ocean. Finally, he reached there. He saw the infinite ocean. So he was amazed with that. And he thought, yes, I heard that I am derived from this ocean. I want to know how deep is the ocean, the reality of the ocean. So he decided to jump in the ocean. He gave up his, belongings and everything. He renounced everything. He became a real man, a human being. Only human being, no attributes. Then he jumped into the water. He started swimming, diving towards the depth of the ocean. As he was advancing with many questions, the curiosity from where he was evolved and what is the depth of ocean, many things. But gradually, he came to know that he was dissolving. What will happen? The salt was just melting back to, dissolving back to the ocean. Finally, he looked here and there. He saw only ocean. Yogic search is like this. To the depth of our existence, questions are not being answered. The questions will be dissolved one by one. Then the questioner will also be dissolved into the energy. That is what is called self-realization. So we can talk to a certain limit where intellect is permitting. Certified or matured enough to go for the karma, third one. So you made enough money with the law of nature. So that artha part is over. You made enough money and you achieved everything. You have a lot of possessions and everything. If you are detached, then you can go for kama. In Sanskrit, kama means desires. Why? The ultimate God or the reality transformed itself into a limited you and I for fulfilling certain desires. That is what is called kama.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. Any other question now?
No,
I
no,
will
we're
get
going to
into.
talk about everything. We're going to talk about everything. I just take a moment to make sure that what I'm understanding is right, you know. So I summarize so I can make sure that what we are understanding is correct.
Yes.
So, you know, what you're saying, what I'm understanding constantly is that we want all the answers. Like this man wanted the measure of the ocean and the depth of the ocean and the number of fish in the ocean. And just going, that's how we are. We go crazy trying to understand, oh, how much should I work? What should I do? But the truth
Yes.
is, all we need to do is just come back to connecting with ourselves. Just that, like you said, that relationship of the observer and the observee, and
Yes.
just be curious about our true nature. And out of that curiosity, out of that inner questioning, that will guide you. That inner questioning and inner awareness will guide you into your dharma arth kam. And as they all dissolve, then you basically
Yes.
you find yourself in
Yes.
moksha, right? And Guruji, what you said, you know, your connection has gotten a little bit weak, Guruji, on your connection, on your side. If you can tell someone to just check your connection, it's become a little bit weak suddenly.
Can you hear me? Your sound is breaking for me. That is why I'm listening carefully. Actually, from the very
Oh,
beginning.
both our sounds, huh? This happened to both our sounds. Can
Uh-huh.
anybody else? You know, I'm going to turn on the comments and let's see if what's happening. Because it was completely fine right now. And then suddenly, I'm going to turn on the comments so that people can say.
Please.
Is it
Yeah, go
better
ahead.
now, Guruji? Can you hear me better now?
I can understand, but it is not very clear.
Oh, I don't know if it's on my end or it's on the other end. Okay, Guruji. Yeah, it's fine. So it's fine, Guruji, I think.
Yeah. Now I can
It's
hear
fine.
you.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay. Okay. So Guruji, what I'm saying is basically I'm going to keep the comments on just for 5 minutes in case it goes. So Guruji, what I'm understanding is that also the very important part that you
No,
said.
again it is disturbing.
Guruji, I think this time it's on your end.
It's from my
Guruji,
end.
I think it's on your end. Yeah, Guruji. I think it's on your end for sure this time.
Change the connection then.
Yeah, sure, Guruji. We'll wait for 2 minutes. We're going to save this video. Everything will get saved. Okay, he'll join us again. Yeah, but I'm finding this so fascinating, right? We want so many do's and don'ts. And I'm finding this very useful even for my work, right? Because I tell people as well when I work with them that don't always be so adhering to the do's and don'ts that I give, you know? Because at the end, we have to, I think, listen to ourselves. I think just understanding, getting the inner guidance, and you know, I'll be honest, I think I've started doing a lot of that in the last couple of years, and it feels very different. And whenever I'm stuck not doing that, that's when the energy gets really dense and thick, and I feel like I'm flowing against the tide. Like even yesterday when Guruji's video didn't happen, I mean my connection didn't work. I felt like that was okay. I think karma is the worldly desires that we are here to seek, I feel. Right? And of course, there is emotional involvement, but it's more about with senses as well. I think the emotional involvement that we have through our senses. Yeah, I think being questioning and curious is the key. Right, instead of the curiosity, you know, I don't know if anybody's heard my lives the quarantine. I've had this whole thing that, you know, let's just ask the question and the answer will arise, and I feel like that's what he's talking about, and it works each time for me. Guruji.
Yes. How do you feel now?
It's
How
great.
is it now?
It's great.
But still, I find the same problem. Your sound is breaking, and my technician is saying that here everything is perfect, and I can hear.
Guruji, the audience is saying that they can see my camera clearly, but yours was a little bit shaky, but it's fine now. They can hear you fine and they can hear me fine.
Okay, if they can hear, okay, we will try this.
Yes. Yes, let's try this. Everybody is saying it's perfect,
How
Guruji.
is the video? Can you hear? I mean, see me well? I mean, the
It's
video is
perfect. It's perfect, Guruji. I
perfect.
can see you clearly, very clearly.
Ah,
Okay. So
okay, now,
I just wanted to kind of, bring out a point which was very useful that you said, is that even when we do rituals, right? And we get so lost in all the do's and don'ts and rituals, but none of that is important. What is important is when we are doing something, there's only two things. And that two things is like you said, the observer and the worshipper and the person who's worshiping and what's being worshipped. And that relationship, that understanding between the two dissolves everything else and merges, automatically makes us, that union is possible.
again, it is breaking. You switch off that? I don't switch off it. It's breaking, Nidhi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but Guruji, in my connection, it's apparently fine. Here it's fine, apparently.
Okay, but your voice, video is okay, but voice is really breaking. And I can, okay. Let
Can
us
everybody else hear? Can everybody hear me, or what is it, the situation?
don't know. Okay.
So, Guruji, it seems today that the connection on this end is fine, but let's wait for people to see if they can hear me, they can hear you. You can hear him all along. And can you hear me too? Yeah. So, Guruji, we can hear you. And but
Okay.
you can't hear me. You can't hear me.
Yes. Yeah, I cannot. Your sound is breaking, but I can manage. No problem. Now we will try.
Okay. Yeah, because everybody somehow, Guruji, everybody can hear. So, yeah. So, Guruji, so, so, yeah, back to that. It's just about connecting with ourselves all the time. Every time that we do something, it's just the relationship between what I'm doing, it's me and what I'm doing. Even when I'm acting in the world, it's truly, I think, connecting with ourselves and connecting with our action in everything that we do. And that process allows us to find ourselves. And you said in that case, because karma, in a sense, we've taken birth, we've taken this form, separate identities from each other, because there's certain things in the world that we have to experience as karma. And once we are in tune with this reality and we understand this place of coming, we can then undertake karma.
Yes. Yes. If we get a perfect understanding about the law of nature and the purpose of our life through an instinctive impulse, the understanding and the awareness, everything will be different. You will be a different person from within the self. Externally, there will not be any difference, but internally, you will be a different person, whom we call realized people. So once you understand the reality of your purpose of life, you are realized. Then you are permitted by yourself, without a confusion, you will get into fulfilling your desires. That is what is called kamya. Kamya means the desires. First desire will come. That is what is called icha shakti. Icha means desire. It's only in the mind. Then you have to get into action. That is what's called karma. That is what's called kriya shakti. So suppose I feel I have to drink 1 glass of water. That is a thought. It came in my thought. Then if I am allowed from within, I have the right to have 1 glass of water. Then I will give, command to my limbs, go and get the water. Then the limbs will take and I will get the water. I drink it. That is kriya shakti. So icha means desire. Kriya means action for fulfilling the desire. There should not be a confusion within. Whatever kriya, whatever karma, whatever action I involve myself into should not be in a confusion. My inner consciousness or inner mind should accept that, yes, Shiva, you are doing the right thing. Then there is no stress. My intellect, my intuition both are in perfect tuning through an instinctive balance. Once this intellect and intuition well connected with the instinct, you are a perfect person. Then we can say a realized person. Whatever karma you do, whatever karma just karma means try to fulfill any desire, you will not be attached with its karma bhala, the consequence. That is what is called the Prakriti Laya. So you are well in tune with Mother Nature. Once we do this kind of sensual enjoyment, you are a perfect karma yogi. You are into action. Millions and millions of activities you can, involve into, but you are not attached with any one of these things. That is what is called nishkama karma. So kamya things, kamya means the desires can be fulfilled, make use of your body, enjoy the fullness of life. Then you will ask, hey, I did all my works and I am so happy from within. Then what is next? Your purpose of life is defined, fulfilled. Then you will be going back to moksha. No more physical identity, because you took the reality, came down. Again, I am saying very clearly, in balance with, in coordination with science. Modern science is saying this now. Mind and body are two faculties. Beyond mind and body, energy level is there. We can call it electromagnetic radiation. So from that, Indriyebhya parahya artha ardhepecha param mana manasastu parabhuti udheratma mahan para mahadaparam avyaktam. See, yogic science is much, much more advanced than our modern science, our intellectual science. The instinctive science, spiritual science is much more advanced. It is saying that from your organ level, from your senses, you can go to mind. From the mind, you can go to artha. Artha means the meaning. Beyond the meaning, there is a cosmic identity. Beyond the cosmic identity, an unmodified state of energy, avyakta, where our modern science is saying some kind of radiation. So from that avyakta, unmodified state, this energy will be condensed to form light. You have heard about light, sound, matter theory.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yes. From avyakta, light is evolved. From light condensed, then the sound evolved, Nada Brahma. From sound, matter evolved. So here we must understand how from this avyakta state, unmodified state of energy, we took the form of body. Like energy level, then we slowly condensed back to the light level. From light waves, slowly it reached to DNA. From the DNA, we formed the genes, the genetic memory. From that genetic memory, we produced the chromosomes. Then from the chromosomes, the cell developed. The first cell, the zygote, you and I are developing from a single cell in the mother's womb. From that single cell, we are developing ourselves into a full-grown human being. All these developments are clearly recorded in that gene. Then, from where gene got that memory, it is in this universe. So when we understand this, in this very life, we are liberated, moksha. So through the law of nature, we got into possessions. Through the possessions, we used our body for sensory pleasures and enjoyments and duties. Through that, then we liberate back to the reality. We know exactly from where we came and why we came and where we will go. This is the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. The meaning of Om. A, U, Ma. Creation, preservation, life, and destruction, the transformation. And we understand Purusha Artha, the meaning of life is fulfilled or defined.
Okay, Guruji, that makes so much sense. And basically, what you're saying in summary is that to connect with the source, we have to connect with ourselves because we are the source. To connect with the universe, we have to connect with ourselves because we are the universe, right? Am I right?
Yes, yes.
And the way you explained is that in this universe, right, where this everything is energy, and the way we take this shape and form of the body, there is light, which is an energy, there is sound, which is an energy, and then we become matter. And our matter, the cell, still holds the memory of where we came from.
True.
It holds the memory of where we came from, and that universe that we came from, that avyakta quantum field. And as we kind of come into this body and we kind of get lost in the world, and we forget the memory of that. So the memory of that, to find that, we don't go outside seeking in the world, we just go back inside, because we carry that understanding by ourselves inside us.
Yes.
So this concept of going outside to look for something which lies inside is confusing for most people, but we are looking more and more outside, and we have to look more and more inside.
Yes. When you try to find an answer from outside, still you are depending on your senses, your sense organs, eyes, ears. There we are completely lost the purpose of search, because eyes are not capable of catching the reality of cosmic existence or our real soul. So go beyond the bondage or the dependence of our senses. That is why, again, make it simple. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. If you search answer from outside, definitely we are in the wrong track. So you learn this body and how it is derived. What is the technique of this creation? For that, you cannot look outside. Look inside. Withdraw your senses. That is what is called pratyahara. The moment we withdraw our senses, it will merge into one point. Your sixth sense will be activated, which we call instinct. When we establish ourselves into the sixth sense, instinct will slowly transform into or permeate into intuition. So pratyahara will convert or change itself into dharana. Dharana will be converting itself into or processing into dhyana. Dhyana is an experience of the reality. It is not coming from outside. It is a derivation, revelation from within. Like last talk, I gave that example. Ice cube, heat applied, ice became water. Again you apply heat, water will be going to vapor. Again you apply heat, vapor will be vanishing into air. Again remove the heat, you will get vapor. Remove the heat again, you will get water. Again remove the heat, you will get the ice back. Same way, this is an ice cube. If this is an ice cube, it is having a certain temperature, tapa. I have to play with that tapa, understand that. Then I can disintegrate my system. When the system, the cells start disintegrating within, we will experience from that unmodified state how we derived back to this state. Then only we can understand the purpose of this degeneration. Then slowly we can take ourselves into that higher state also. That is what is mentioned in yoga, Suryayana, the journey towards light, and Chandrayana, journey towards darkness.
Yes. Okay, Guruji, that makes I'm just imagining us completely going inside, and then the comparison that came to my mind, right, Guruji, is that, and I'm going to ask you a question for somebody who has a busy life and is completely engaged where the person starts. But before that, you know what, when I'm imagining what you're saying, what I'm thinking is that today I'm a mother of 2 children. I'm in the world, you know. Can you hear me, Guruji? Like I'm a mother of 2 children, you know. I have 2 girls and I'm living in the world. I'm living in the sansar. And there are things that I'm doing and that I will do, right? I will take my kids on vacation. I will give them things to eat. I will look after them. But what you're saying, it's not what you're doing. It is how you are doing it. So when I'm doing it with the intuition and the instinct, when I allow my instinct to guide me and I allow my intuition.
Excuse me, Nidhi. Excuse me. Shall I take 1 minute?
Yeah, sure, Guruji.
I think you are asking a serious question, but I cannot hear you well. Let me check my connection once again.
Yeah, you know, sometimes Guruji, turning the phone helps a lot. Like turning off the data helps. Turning off the data helps sometimes. I'm going to turn on the connection here. And so
okay,
Guruji,
let me make it try.
Take your time, Guruji.
Okay, good. Just I don't know what.
So Guruji, you might want to leave and then try again. Yeah. You know, this is what I'm understanding, guys, is that when a little child, right, like as a mother, and you tell the child, hey, you can go and eat a candy. But when the child is doing something, let's say quietly, or doing something wrong, or taking that one candy or toffee without asking, they kind of know that what they're doing is not right and they're doing it. At least I feel there's so many things that I know, and it's not right or wrong. It's not stealing. But even in my daily life, when we make decisions, or I say, hey, I'm going to, suppose, for example, stay up extra 2 hours, but my instinct is saying that, no, I actually want to go to sleep. Intuitively, I want to go to sleep. So I think that process where we completely disconnect from our instincts and we continue to do things in the world, and I feel like we all do that, where we're constantly disconnecting from our instincts and we are doing things in the outside world. And I feel like that disconnect is what takes us away from ourselves. The more we are true to ourselves, the meaning of being true to ourselves is, I think, what Guruji is saying. The meaning of being true to ourselves is creating that pratyahar, or disconnection from the outside world, taking time to introspect without sensory indulgence, letting us become our own guide with everything that we do. And then when we indulge in dharma, artha, kama, automatically we'll be doing it from a place which will bring us closer to who we are. And I can completely understand what he's saying, is because truly, I think, like when I started really, thank you, Simran, when I truly started like doing much more meditation, I feel like that is the experience I had. Yeah, but you know, what I'm understanding from his talk is dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they are all the same, except for moksha. They're all the same. They're all our engagement with the world, as long as we let our inner self guide us. But how do we access our inner self, right? I think as long as our inner self guide us, you'll know how much the indulgence in kama is, how much of the world you're going to enjoy. When we let our inner self, like I know sometimes when I'm having that extra, let's say, slice of pizza, I know that's against my instinct. It feels unnatural. It feels like, you know, this doesn't feel like I want to do this, or it's right? That's kama. I'm indulging in the pizza. But I'm still that, you know, when I know that first piece, I don't feel bad. That second big slice, and I'm like, and it's not feeling bad, but it's knowing that this is not for me. And I think even with dharma, right, doing work in the world, I think to somebody it's natural. Being a mother feels so natural. That feels like dharma. It's an inner calling. For me, my Ayurveda feels like a very natural calling. And I feel like understanding that natural calling, understanding what destiny, what the universe has planned for you, automatically will allow us to understand how much sensory indulgence. Somebody can go crazy in the world and not feel bad. Right, you open yourself to the inner world and how much intuition opens up. But I think what he also said, which I thought was so interesting, is that it begins with pratyahara, chitta vritti nirodha. So it begins, let's say we're having a crazy busy life and we're living in this. He's here. I'm going to let him take the last few minutes. Yeah, it led you towards Ayurveda. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
Camera.
Guruji.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us start. Yes.
Yeah, no problem, Guruji. We only have about 8 minutes, but there's a question that came, Guruji. I firstly was just trying to summarize, and I just summarized, Guruji, that at the end, we just have to constantly find time away from sensory indulgence to truly connect with ourselves, through pratyahar. And then that connection with ourself becomes our guide for living in the world.
Yes.
So we constantly go through this process where we do chitta vritti nirodha, find ourselves, then take that self that we found inside back into the world and operate in the world from that self that I have gone inside and found because I did pratyahar. And the more we do this, automatically, then that dharana is from an inner place. How to act in the world. What are you going to, what dhara?
Yes.
And then when you keep doing that process and you do more chitta vritti nirodha and you find yourself even more, then you naturally can reach a state of dhyana. And I guess then when you continue this process, samadhi is natural.
Yes.
So we are just in this journey of constantly connecting with ourselves, taking that in the world, connecting with ourselves, taking that in the world. And I think the most important thing you said is that chitta vritti nirodha is very important for it, because only then, when you're alone with your inner self, without having the senses talk to you, that alone relationship with your inner self is what becomes your guide when you go out.
Yes, that's correct. You perfectly understood the idea, but how the pratyahara can happen?
Yeah,
a systematic daily practice. Slowly, our inner conscience, our inner guru will be evolved. That is what is called Kundalini awakening. People are really mistaken into that point. The inner energy, inner light will be shining. That will guide you. Then never you will fail in life. But in our activity, or the result of an action can be defined, categorized as a success or loss, victory or failure. But our inner mind will not have this dualism. We will always experience Egam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Exactly what Master said can be understood and heard from within. We all are having an inner guide. Now, everybody is, depending on GPS. But we have to develop the GPS from within. The Guru will guide you to the different terrains, different dimensions of your life. Once we understand that, we will merge ourselves, our consciousness or our intellect will slowly merge into intuition through the medium of instinct. So that is why if I ask you a question, who you are, then you will say, I am Nidhi. When you use that I is 3 levels. One is intellectual dimension in the brain. Other one is instinctive dimension in the lungs. Prana is playing there. In the mind is playing in brain. Prana is playing in lungs. And your soul is residing in heart. There, the real intuition. That is why Hiranya Garbha. Garbha means a womb. We have a cave in our heart, which is said Hiranya Garbha. When our attention reaches over there, we can see a wonderful sound, which is called the sound of silence. Brahmanadam. So that is why our masters are labeled as Munis. Muni means a person observes his silence. Silence is Mauna. A person who is immersing himself into Mauna is called a Muni. In that perfect silence, he will start listening the sound of silence and the sound of God within. So heart will start talking to him. His consciousness, his intellect will be capable of understanding the murmur from the heart. When intellect and intuition become well tuned, you will smile. That is what is usually said, the smile of Buddha. Our smile will not be a mouth exercise. It will be a fantastic expression of our inner joy. So if everybody experience this, you can see what will be the condition of this world. Instead of understanding the peace within, we are looking outside and blaming others. This is the person. That is why I am not getting the peace. No. We have to develop peace within because it is there. Once it develops, slowly it will, start, coming out. It start flowing out. That's why in India, Vidya, education, whether it is spiritual or intellectual, education is known as Saraswati. Saraswati means that lady who is sitting with the Veena.
Yeah, Saraswati Devi. Yeah.
Yes, she represents, Saraswati means Taila Dharavat. It's flowing. It doesn't have any disturbance. It keeps on flowing. Like a flower is, blossoming, the wonderful fragrance is coming. Same way, when we open the heart through proper concentration, proper meditation, the Hiranyagarbha will start blossoming out. Once that comes, we can see how wonderful this life is. This should be the purpose of life, definition of life, which we call Purusha Artha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So moksha should be achieved. Liberation should be achieved in this very life, in this very moment.
Guruji, you are again, I feel like you are saying everything that I wanted to hear. And you said that this is that joy you experience and life. It sounds like life. Guruji, I tell you, I've been doing this a little bit for the last 2 years, where I do every day, I do a hour of pratyahar or more hour to, through my meditation, through my sadhana, I've been doing. And I did not realize what I was actively doing. But when you're saying that, more and more letting the inner self be the guide. And, the less I feel trapped. Otherwise, Guruji, before, I felt so trapped in my situation, in everything in life. I'm trapped here and I'm trapped there. I'm trapped in this relationship and I'm trapped in this work and I'm trapped. But the more I started doing this and the more I started letting my inner guidance be supportive, everything became a flow. Everything becomes so easy. And when we lose that, when I lose that, because I'm so new in this journey, whenever I lose that, again, you feel trapped. But it's possible to live your whole life without feeling trapped. Because just through this constant interaction with the world from the inner self and allowing that disconnection and preparation, so that when you connect again, there is pure harmony and it just flows.
Yes, that's correct.
And what you said, Guruji, we have only 1 minute, but I want you to say that again, that pratyahara, daily practice, is very important.
Yeah.
So can you repeat that again for our audience, that where do they start the daily practice? We have only about 1 minute. We will have Guruji back and next time, but we will have Guruji back very soon. And we will have this discussion even more. But Guruji, can you tell everybody for this 1 week, where do they start their pratyahar? How do they do Chittavritti Nirodha? Give everybody a job to do, if you don't mind.
Just sit on floor, facing east or north, with a straight spine. No need to sit in Vajrasana, Padmasana, whichever posture is comfortable for you, but keep the spine straight. That's all. Even if you lean towards the wall, no problem. But keep the spine straight and have an easy posture and hold the breath as much as possible. And if you are in need, Mr. Krishna was asking me to give a video how to hold the breath.
So Guruji, let's join again. Okay, let's join again.